Hello everybody, welcome back to another weather video. Today be taking a look at the nor'easter that is going to be affecting parts of the south, mid-Atlantic, and eventually up into the northeast. As you can see here on the screen, you have your winter weather advisories in the purple and in the pinks. Now, you actually do have winter storm warnings that affect all of West Virginia, mostly parts of the state of Kentucky, Tennessee, and now even into some parts of southern New Jersey, eastern Long Island, and into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, and into places into Maine and the most southeastern counties of New Hampshire. Now, you also do have winter weather advisories for places on the lakes here. You'll be having lake effect snow going on throughout the rest of the day, and you also have winter storm warnings backed by Michigan for the same exact reason. But you also have wind chill warnings and advisories here back up into the Midwest where you could see wind chills in the negative 40s, believe it or not. And you do have a winter storm affecting the West Coast as we speak. This is the current storm and how it looks right now. As you can see, the most northern extent of the snow, if this is reaching the ground, of course, is into almost into northeastern Ohio, and it is snowing into the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina here. The heaviest of the snow is back towards northern Tennessee, southern Kentucky, all the way into eastern Kentucky, and into West Virginia and southern Ohio. As the storm makes its way towards the coast, it will eventually transfer almost all of its energy to the coast and eventually form a low pressure system that will inevitably form a nor'easter that goes right into the Gulf of Maine. As of right now, you see you have your temperatures all the way back towards Nashville where it just snowed, 24 degrees, believe it or not. And tonight it's going to get even lower. You have your cold front coming down. You also back towards southern Pennsylvania, your temperature is in the low 20s, and I don't know where that reading is from, 36. This is probably because it's on lower elevation, and when the precipitation comes in, that all that cold air from the loft is going to get drained down, so you probably drop down to around 33. Same here with the most, let's say, eastern parts of West Virginia here. This should stay all snow in all of West Virginia. I guess in lower elevations you could get that rain to start off with, but as the storm starts to pull away, you'll change over. But notice the banding in this storm. You do have bands in West Virginia, southern Ohio. You can see it's in here, southern PA, back towards Kentucky. You should have seen the banding in Tennessee before earlier today. There's reports that Nashville's almost up to 7 inches. Southern most counties around it actually got up to 8. There is reports of 8 to 12 as well, believe it or not. This storm was already going to be a big storm for that part of the area, giving it 3 to 5 inches for Tennessee, but it did pretty good down there, getting 7, and it's still barely snowing. If you want to go north of the town, south, it is pretty much done. But this should be all but wrapping up very soon in Tennessee as the storm makes its way towards the east. But let's take a quick look at the temperatures along the East Coast. Most of Long Island is around the 36, 38 degree mark. Same with southern Connecticut. Back by Hartford, where you have higher snow ratios, you're at 29. Just in the southern Massachusetts area, you're at 37. Northern Rhode Island, 32. And into southern parts of Jersey, when this loads, it is 40 degrees. It looks like it isn't going to be as much as a mid-Atlantic storm as last storm, but believe me, still parts of northern Delaware and southern Jersey could get the most snow out of this, especially in this area. I believe this area could be in for serious upside. Upside is when you have the potential to do pretty good, overachieving in this system, which in this case, I believe, in this whole area, I'll highlight it right now, anywhere from southern Maine all the way down to southeastern parts of New Hampshire, back all the way into Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Long Island, and to southern New Jersey. I believe this area could see the chance to exceed over 4 inches. You'll see in my map here in a little bit. But this storm is already looking a little bit more impressive on radar. There's nothing too crazy about it so far, but once again, once this storm gets going out here, once the low pressure that is back here transfers energy to the coast and forms one big storm right here and it goes into the Gulf of Maine, that is when you'll see the most intense banding from the storm. Now, this is a NAM 3K that I just pulled up here. I like the NAM 3K because it shows you where the heavy banding is going to be. This is at 1 p.m. today, so this is Now at 5 p.m. where it is right now, as you can see, this is where it should be, and this is what we have right now. So this is pretty relatively close. Maybe a little bit more precip in parts of eastern Ohio, but it's not too different. It's not overachieving that much yet, but I expect that to change once this storm eventually combines with the low pressure system off the coast. You can see you have your low pressure system throwing back precip into the coast, and you have your low pressure system over here originally. And now watch at the bottom of your screen. We see how they start to combine and form one big storm, and you get all this heavy precip along the coast. Here, I'll highlight it for you once again. All down here is heavy precipitation, maybe an inch or two per hour in the bands. Maybe you could see pockets heavier than that, but I think 1 to 2 is relatively what you're going to see. And as we go on, you can see the storm precip field starts to increase as the storm starts to strengthen and quickly develop. This is where it is on the NAM. This is where your heavy bands are. You see in southern New Jersey, Long Island, maybe just right over New York City, and you're starting to get it into Boston here. This is where I think you'll see maybe up to 6, 8 inches, maybe towards Massachusetts is likely to get over 8 inches, but there's always that possibility where if you get into that band and stay in the band, you can always overachieve. And one thing that the NAM does show, I can't pull it up because I saw it on Twitter, I can't find it again, but it does show thunder snow, believe it or not. Thunder snow is when you have lightning, and of course you hear thunder after the bolt. And it does produce a chance in this area to see lightning strike, at least a couple lightning strikes. Now, when you usually have that, that is very intense snow bands coming down, and that's when you get your 2 inch per hour snows. As we go by here now, this is 10 a.m. Monday, not Monday, Friday. Your back edge is all the way back by Albany, western parts of Connecticut, central Long Island, and it's starting to wrap up a low pressure system right here. Actually, sorry about that. And as the storm makes a continuation towards the northeast, you can see how wrapped up animal this becomes. I'll bring up the pressure map. Look at this thing, 985, and by the time it gets by Canada Maritimes, 977. So I'll show this how the storm eventually combines. This is your low pressure system here. You have one right here. As time goes on tonight, you can see that it converges into one. But you can see it is still here, that low pressure system. So they're both strengthening over here. So by the time it converges into one storm, it is right off the coast of Nantucket here. And now this is when it really starts to get going, and that's why it blows up in the Canadian Maritime. So you go from here to one low pressure system. Now if I erase all of that, it eventually gets down to 976 before eventually weakening. And if we want to go to the winter totals here and see the snow ratios, this is what you get. This is where generally it has 6 or more inches back into here pretty much. I would say this is where your 6+ inch range is pretty much. You see how on northern Long Island you do have that potential to get 6 inch or more. That's from the banding. That's why I just included that. You also have chances in southern New Jersey, central New Jersey to get into this, but notice southern, all the way down south in southern New Jersey, there's a chance for a changeover, and that's why your totals are limited this time. But back towards West Virginia, you could see up to a foot or more because your snow ratios are higher. It's going to be more potent back there, I believe. Not as potent as it is going to be out to coast, but I believe it will still be pretty potent. And if we want to switch to the NAM 12K on the F-Gen, the F-Gen is when you see these tight clusters aloft in the warm moisture off the coast from the ocean rams right into the cold air and produces heavy banding. And when these bands get close like this together, that's where your heaviest banding starts. So you see this stretches all the way back into southern central New Jersey, all of Long Island, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and back by Boston. The tighter it is, the more heavier the precipitation and banding is. And you see how this pretty much just sits over Boston for a little bit and then eventually pulls out with very, very cold air. And then whatever gets melted by the day Friday, this is going to quickly freeze over. And if we go back to the temperatures here, this is at 5 p.m. So you see it does get up to like 35, 36 temperature. Overnight it is going to drop. By 4 a.m. you could see 20s on along the coast, interior. But you notice by 1 p.m. the 32-degree line is all the way down here. It's all the way back by West Virginia, and almost all of Delaware is in the 32-degree line. So there'll be little to no melting on Saturday. The melting day would definitely come Sunday when it starts to rain, but then you'll have your cold, cold Arctic air after that, and I'll show you that real quick. This is actually the new 18Z. I'll pull it up in a little bit. But after the warm push comes through, you could see how cold it really gets. Look how cold this gets. For highs on Tuesday, no, this is Monday. The highs don't even bother getting out of the 30s. And then on Tuesday, oh, the highs could be 20, 19, 18 degrees along the coast. Interior could be single digits, even negative for a high. That is really cold Arctic air. Now I want to pull up the HRRR. It has done a really good job. I just want to see if the new run is out by any chance. It is not. So we are going to stick with the 20Z, and this is what it does pretty much. Back by 7 p.m. tonight, this is what it should look like. So HRRR is actually a little bit less on a precip. So if we go back by 5, it's relatively what it has, but it should have more precipitation back by Kentucky and back towards northern Tennessee. But it is overall doing a great job. And by the time you get it to 3 a.m., you have your filling in precip when these two lows converge along Long Island, Jersey coast, Maryland. And as time goes on, you get your banding start to set up, and it does pretty much the same thing as the NAM. It gets out of here by 10, 11 o'clock at central Long Island, western Connecticut, and back up to Albany. Not much has really changed. I just want to take a quick look at the GFS, see if it has done anything different really. This is the fresh 18Z. This is at 1 o'clock today, so it did a pretty not bad job, and it shows really heavy banding over Long Island. This was a 12Z, one run ago, and now this is the latest. It actually got a little bit closer to the coast, it seems like. I can go to the pressure here. Let's go to this anomaly. Wow, it actually did get pretty close to the coast, it seems like. Oh, yeah. It has that low, all the second low still there, pretty much. So it actually brings the precip a little bit closer. So by doing this, I believe, if I am not wrong, the snow totals have bumped up a little bit. It actually has, in fact. So it brings 5 inches along a lot of the coast here, and it goes all out in Massachusetts here. So this is your new 6-inch line, pretty much. And then you have your 4 plus, 5 plus back in here, it seems like. Wow, that is pretty substantial change. This is a 6Z. You see, yeah, that's pretty good. 0Z, 18Z. So this is 1 day later. Remember, it has 3.4 inches there, 3.7 there. If we go to the latest run, that is really, really impressive from the GFS here. So onto my snow map here. This is what I predict to happen. After seeing this, this part of the area right here, this could go either way. You'll either say it with 4 inches or 6 inches, maybe even more after looking at the new models. But back just out of Albany and just by central PA and eastern PA, all the way back down by Baltimore, Washington, and all the way back up into Philly, Wilmington, and Springfield, Massachusetts, I could see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. If you're north to west of this line, an inch to coating. I didn't bother filling it in because that covers a wide swath of area. This stretches all the way down here, but I mostly do northeastern and mid-Atlantic, northern mid-Atlantic weather, so I just cut it off there. I'm too unfamiliar with that area. But just west or right on top of New York into southern New Jersey, straight up into Long Island, and just west of Plymouth, not Plymouth, the Cape. I'm sorry about that. And all the way up into Maine, you could see anywhere from 4 to 8. Locally more, maybe 9 if you're pushing it. If you get into that intense band for hours, this is where I think you'll see 8 plus. If it does happen. So if this doesn't happen, you're still sitting like 4 to 8, and you're closer to 8 than 4. So that stretches here. I'll zoom in for a little bit for you guys. So that stretches from Providence, Fall River, Boston, all the way up into Seabrook, Portland, and into Rockland, Maine, and into Cutler, Maine as well. This storm is going to undergo rapid intensification here. This is a track as of now. It keeps going, wanting to go a little bit more west and west. Nova Scotia is going to get pounded by the storm. I wouldn't be surprised if you see 18-inch totals, blizzard conditions. And yeah, oh, this area by the Cape is in the 2 to 4 for now. I'm sorry, I forgot to fill that in, but this is what I have it as for now. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day. And if you're in the Northeast, enjoy your first snowfall of the season. It could be big depending on where you are. Long Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Maine, New Hampshire, and into southern New Jersey and central New Jersey. This could be your first big storm of the season. Maine, I'm pretty sure has had a storm already, but if I'm incorrect on that, this will also be your first big storm of the season. Have a great day. Enjoy.